Can you guys hear me? Try that again. Todd, can you hear me? Todd, bring it up.
Evacuation shelters for people that, for employees that.
We focus this meeting, get the LSC.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to call to order the Pasco County Board of County Commissioner Emergency Special Meeting of September 26, 2022. I would like to remind everyone present to please silence all electronic devices. At this time, I'd ask you all to rise for the invocation and pledge. Madam Clerk.
O merciful Creator, your hand is open wide to satisfy the needs of every living creature. Make us thankful for your loving providence and grant that we, remembering the account that we must one day give, may be faithful stewards of your good gifts. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
District 1, Commissioner Oakley.
Here.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
I'm online.
District 4, Commissioner Fitzpatrick. Here. District 5, Commissioner Mariano.
Here.
District 3, Chairman Starkey.
I believe she's online. There we go.
Thank you, we have you.
Okay. This morning, we have convened to discuss the board's consideration of declaring a local state of emergency. Andrew Fawcett, Director of Emergency Management, has a presentation.
Good afternoon, Andrew Fawcett, Director of Emergency Management. I'd like to just do a little presentation on what Pasco County is looking at coming in for this storm. I will say this storm is an unprecedented storm, and the angle of approach that it's coming at and the size of the storm, it's going to be detrimental to the county. We are going to receive significant devastation and damage. So today, like went through showers, normal weather, all that kind of good stuff. Tonight, same thing. Getting into Wednesday, we're going to start seeing bands from the storm start pushing into the coast. We'll see some tropical sustained winds. They're not going to, gusts. They're not going to be sustained type winds, but we are going to start seeing heavy rains. So we're already saturated as a county. So we're going to start seeing flooding early on with not surge, but flooding. So if you look at the pictures I have up there, the PowerPoint, yesterday the hurricane was predicted this to be a hurricane, maybe a strong one, possible two, week 2. The storm shifted more, and this slide, actually, the new one that just came out, it's actually pushed over more. So it's going to make landfall around Levy County in that area right there. It was projected to be a regular hurricane. Now they have classified it to a major hurricane. So a major hurricane is anything category 3 and above. Another bad item about it is we're on the right side of the storm. The right side of the storm is the messiest and dirtiest side of the storm. That's where we get our storm surge. That's where we get our tornadoes. We get our heavy rainfalls. And another item I just found out that from a phone call with NWS is that when the storm hits the Tampa Bay area, it's basically going to stop to a crawl. So right now it's moving 10 to 15 miles an hour down just beneath Cuba. But when it gets up to the Bay Area, it's going to slow down to about 5 miles an hour. So that's even going to add more impact to the county, not only keeping the surge in and not letting it release, but we're going to dump about 10 inches of rain on the county through this event. You're looking at your probable arrival times. The top one is the earliest reasonable. You see it gets in there Tuesday and the Wednesday-ish. The most likely time for us to really start seeing sustained winds and rain is going to be starting on Wednesday and all the way through Thursday. So this is going to be a Wednesday-Thursday event and we are going to receive hurricane force winds sustained on the coast. And I'm thinking probably most likely from 19 over in the Little Road area, we'll see sustained hurricane force winds. The county in a whole is going to see sustained tropical storm force winds throughout the event. Our flooding model, we've been running models every day, basically every 4 or 5 hours to see if this slosh model is going to change. So as you see, we're looking at 10, 12, and some areas 14 feet of water coming in up to US 19. We are gonna have areas that are in the county that will cross over 19, and we will have flooding on the east side of 19. And we're looking more down in the Elfers area, the Holiday Forest Hills area. Gulf Harbors, they're gonna be underwater. Any land development that's on the west side of 19 is going to receive water in it. So we've been doing these models repetitively. Another bad thing is we have hospitals that are in level A evacuation zones. We're working with them. And that Newport Richey area, Bayonet Point, they're expected to see water in their facility. So we're working with them and moving further with it. So our current status, we do have the state declaration for pre-landfall and the hurricane declaration that includes all 67 counties. Pasco County evacuation orders are going to be going out on Tuesday, activating Tier 1, and we are now opening Tier 2 shelters. So we're going to have a total of 12 shelters open for this event. Fasano shelter is activating. It's going to be used exclusively for special needs. It's usually a combination Gen Pop and special needs. But with the amount of calls that we have received, we're actually going to have to open Fasano for special needs. And then we're actually going to have to open up our backup site, which is Wiregrass High School, for special needs. Calls are still coming in for people for special needs that are wanting evacuation. And we have gotten to a point that we've had to say, we'll take your name, we'll take your information, but there is no guarantee that we can come get you, just because of the amount of people that are asking to be evacuated for special needs. We're monitoring the area of concern with pumps. We're working with Public Works. They have all their pumps in place. We're pumping down areas that we know are very prone to flooding, so we keep pumping those areas. We have put resource requests in for additional pumps to help when they come in to start pumping off other areas. Anticipated actions. We're at a level 1 right now, but tomorrow we're gonna go into a 24-hour level 1 activation. So there will be day and night shifts there. We have sandbag locations throughout the county. We actually have 8 of them now because Zephyr Hills just came online and Dade City came online with 2 sandbag locations. I will say, however, we've had to limit the number of sandbags that citizens can get. And that is because people are taking 20, 30, 40 of these bags and we're running out. We got resource requests in for additional bags. We're hoping the state will push those out to those rather quickly so we can move in and start getting there and done. And like I briefed out earlier, the stormwater gates are open. 3 of the 14 are currently open. Public Works is monitoring those. And we have seen we're alleviating a lot of water, so we're actually doing a pretty good job. Any questions from you folks?
No. Shino?
So the most flooding or the surge of the water goes how far into the county? Because my area is over on the east side of the county. We'll still have wind and all that, but we probably won't get that surge.
No, you will not get the surge. The surge will be limited to the west side of the county.
Yeah.
And we're thinking US 19 westward, which is very prone to that. And then we're thinking up in the Hudson Bayonet area, they're gonna get water over 19 off of Arapika in that area. Water will be pushed across the road there. And then down in Holiday, US 19 area, Forest Hills area, that water is gonna cross over 19 there also.
So if you're living on the west side of 19,
Yes.
then you should move to evacuate.
Yes, they need to evacuate.
How high are the surge, you think?
So we're looking in some of the areas, we're looking at 12 to 14 feet. So I don't know who remembers the no-name storm when the no-name storm came through here. That flooding was up into the houses. We're gonna see areas that the water is at the gutter lines on the houses. That's how bad this is gonna be.
Yep.
Rivers, right now we have one river that's in flood stage, and that's the Worthington Gardens River. That's still in minor flood stage. They're expecting that to go into major flood stage after the event. And the Anclote River at Elfers. So that one, unfortunately, is gonna go into flood stage again, and we did a model on that, and that's gonna be about 14 feet. So, and mainly because the surge will come in and the outflow on the Anclo is not strong enough to overpower the surge coming in.
Right.
So we will see the river in Newport Richey, that's gonna come out of its banks. We don't know how far though, we haven't really got a good taste for that one yet. And this is all gonna be dependent, all these models that we show are based on a normal tide. They're not based on a high tide.
But
So
on
if
the
we
east
get a
side,
high.
yeah,
Sorry?
on the east side, we got, with Lacoochee, and it floods from a lot of heavy rainfall like this, but
Yes, sir.
most likely it's gonna do the same.
Yes, sir. So you're gonna add 3 feet above the numbers that I showed you just now. So you're gonna look at 17, 18 feet in some areas.
Okay.
So, any other questions?
Well, I'm glad we're talking about this a little bit more from this morning's meeting, because now that we know everyone should evacuate from the west side of 19, that gets the word out there, and I'm glad to see more shelters are going to be open as well. I heard 5A this morning. I'm assuming we got a few more as well.
We have 12 total. We have the Fasano and then 11 schools that we are opening.
Okay, and I think it's very important for people to take advantage of that. Is something I know a few years ago, we had a major storm and came right through us that really hit us pretty hard, and a lot of people got safe, protected, so it's going to be important for people to get out there and get protected.
Yeah. We've worked with
Hey, Mr. Chair,
DOT.
Mr. Chair, Mike Moore, can you?
Yeah,
Sure.
Commissioner Moore.
Thank you, Commissioner, or, thank you, Mr. Chair. No, I'm out of town, but I'm actually cutting where I'm at short and traveling through the night and coming back tomorrow. But there's one area of concern that I let Mr. Gabala know about, and Commissioner Oakley, it's now in your district, is the Crystal Lake area in the homes around Crystal Lake. It's a 55 and up, retirement community. And when I first came on back in 14, and I know Commissioner Mariano, you remember this very well, is that many of the residents were not able to leave their homes. There was water up to homes, the lake rises. Now, I've worked very closely with staff in the community to make some improvements out there, but at the same time, I just want to ask staff again to have those pump trucks on standby. And again, the reason, one of my main concerns is that you have a number of senior citizens that may not be able to get out again. Again, Commissioner Oakley, I'll continue to keep an eye on myself as well. But there was a high concern over the first, 3 years. And that was just from the rain, right? That was just from the rain. So if we're going to see a rain event like Chief Voss is talking about, there's a good chance they're going to have those issues there. If I could just ask the team again, to keep an eye on that.
Where's that located at, the Crystal Lake?
Crystal Lake, it's on Morris Bridge and 54, so it's all the.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah, so you have 55 and up community, and they are manufactured home parts as well. So
Is that a place
obviously
where you-
worried about the wind.
Yeah. Is that a place where
But,
you normally have pumps out there ready to go, or?
Yeah, we had to. People literally couldn't get out. I actually drove with my lifted vehicles through there because normal cars could not get in out of there. And that's on the east side of the county. So just to make sure we're keeping an eye on that and have those things ready after the fact. And that's it for me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Mr. Starkey, I had a question.
Go ahead.
You mentioned somewhere where it was going to be 14 feet, but I didn't catch where that was.
It's gonna be Elfers. It's gonna be the Anclote River.
Okay, and we do have that mobile home park on Old 54. I went there with the governor, Governor Scott, last time it went under. That whole corridor, I hope people are paying attention. I'm worried because a lot of people are telling me they're going to stay in Gulf Harbors and ride it out, and I just don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I think
Good-
they are to move out of that area.
Well, and I'm glad that with the meeting today, because this is making it a lot clearer that people do west side of 19 to move out. And I'll say even the people in the Highlands up in Hudson, they need to probably get out of there too.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Fitzpatrick.
Yes, and I was wondering, at what point does it change from a recommended evacuation to a mandatory evacuation? Because at some point when law enforcement and public safety no longer run, and then also, which areas are recommended for evacuations, A, B, and C at this time, or are there any others?
Yes, ma'am. There'll be level A, B, and C for evacuation zones.
I know those are recommended at this time.
I'll let Mr. Carvalho answer.
Yeah, well, we're looking into the extent to which we can make those mandatory, but
That's correct, yes. A, B, and C, and as soon as we're done with this, we will be looking to issue those evacuation orders,
Thank
and
you.
we've been
I would be
discussing mandatory.
supportive of A. I would definitely be supportive of A, because I don't want to put our first responders in danger. And, they go and try and rescue people, and it's not going to be pretty. So heads up, I'm in support of A.
And at what point should they start evacuating?
So the evacuation order, when it goes out, it'll specify tomorrow morning. It's when the evacuations will start to coincide with the shelter openings.
Thank you. So the shelters will start opening tomorrow morning? Thank you. Do we know when they'll remain open till?
Until we determine that it's safe to return
That
or
depends on the
the
storm.
shelters are done.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, any other questions? All right, well, Mr. Foster, thank you for all the great work you and your team are doing. Madam Clerk, would you please read the resolution?
Resolution number 22-230, a resolution by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, declaring a state of local emergency related to Hurricane Ian. Do you want me to proceed forward with reading the rest of it, or just by title only?
Please, yeah, let's read it.
Okay. Whereas the Governor of the State of Florida issued Executive Order Number 22-218 on September 23rd, 2022, and Executive Order 22-219 on September 24th, 2022, declaring that a state of emergency exists for certain counties in the state of Florida due to the forecast models of Hurricane Ian, formerly known as Tropical Depression 9, hereafter referred to as the event. And whereas the event poses a potential threat to the lives and property of residents of Pasco County, requiring advanced preparation and mobilization of resources, as well as flexibility and authority from the Board of County Commissioners to act in a timely manner to prepare for the event, render assistance to affected residents, and mitigate any property damage caused by the event. And whereas Chapter 252 Florida statutes provides authority for political subdivisions, such as Pasco County, to declare a state of local emergency and to waive the procedures and formalities otherwise required of political subdivisions by law pertaining to 1. Performance of public work and taking whatever action is necessary to ensure the health, safety, and welfare of the community. 2. Entering into contracts. 3. Incurring obligations. 4. Employment of permanent and temporary workers. 5. Utilization of volunteer workers. 6. Rental of equipment. 7. Acquisition and distribution with or without compensation of supplies, materials, and facilities. And 8. The transfer, amendment, apportionment, amendment, appropriation, and/or expenditure of public funds. And now therefore, the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, in session this 26th day of September 2022, hereby declares a state of local emergency pursuant to Section 252 Florida statutes and Sections 30-29 and 30-30 Pasco County Code of Ordinances, effective immediately for all territory within the legal boundaries of Pasco County, including all unincorporated and incorporated areas, and authorizes the county administrator and/or interim county administrator or his designee to order evacuations, make emergency purchases, and take any other action he deems necessary. This state of local emergency shall be effective upon enactment and shall remain in effect for a 7-day period thereafter, unless otherwise rescinded or extended as provided by law. Further, to the extent allowed by law, this declaration retroactively applies to ratify expenditures made and actions taken prior to the effective date of this LSE by county staff in connection with preparations and anticipation of the event. Be it further resolved by the Board of County Commissioners that the county administrator and/or interim county administrator and the emergency management director are each delegated the authority to 1. Extend this initial declaration of local state of emergency as many times as necessary, and 2. Dissolve this local state of emergency or any extensions thereof if the event no longer poses a threat to the lives and/or property of Pasco County residents or to public property. This delegation of authority to the county administrator and/or interim county administrator and/or the emergency management director to extend or to dissolve this local state of emergency does not require further action by this board and is granted whether or not a quorum of the board is able to meet the procedures set out in sections 30-29 and 30-30 of the Pasco County Code that may be interpreted to be in conflict with this grant of authority are hereby waived. Be it further resolved by the Board of County Commissioners that it is the intent of this board that given the possibilities that episodic rainfall or high winds may result in only localized damage, flooding, and/or storm surge, that the county administrator and/or interim county administrator or his designee shall have the flexibility to institute, modify, amend, terminate, or reinstate evacuation orders and other appropriate orders as conditions and affected areas change, and without further action by this board. Be it further resolved by the Board of that Be it further resolved that the Board of County Commissioners desires to facilitate the cleanup of debris on private property by those residents affected by wind, rainfall, and/or flooding, and therefore this board directs that the cost of debris disposal, tipping fees otherwise charged to residents for debris disposal related to this event shall be paid from the general fund rather than the affected residents. Be it further resolved by the Board of County Commissioners that said board hereby exercises its authority and waives the procedures and formalities required by law of the political subdivision as provided in Chapter 252 Florida Statutes and Sections 30-29 and 30-30 Pasco County Code of Ordinances. Done and resolved with the quorum present and voting this 26th day of September 2022.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. You know, this is a very serious storm. I know, I appreciate the Governor DeSantis putting the emergency out there early to give us a chance to respond. Mr. Carbella, thanks for bringing it together. Andy, thanks for doing what you're doing. Chief, I appreciate you guys too. It's going to be a very difficult storm. It's going to, as you say, cause a lot of damage. We've just got to be prepared. And if you're out there and you live especially west of 19 or even close to it, if you have any doubts at all, there's going to be shelters out there. Be safe. Any further discussion?
Move approval.
Second.
Okay,
Mr. Chair, this is a roll call vote since we have two commissioners remote.
okay. And we have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
District 1, Commissioner Oakley.
Aye.
District 2, Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
District 5, Commissioner Mariano.
Aye.
District 3, Chairman Starkey.
Aye.
It has been properly moved, seconded. Further discussion? Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Pasco County waterways and wildlife depend on you to keep them healthy.